Now, the headlines surrounding the rollout of Obamacare have mostly focused on a government-created disaster, a website that doesn't work, leaving people unable to sign up, or a lie from the president that you'd be able to keep your current plan. But what's not being covered are the tricky ways in which insurance companies are misleading consumers. A new investigation by Talking Points Memo has found numerous instances in which insurance companies have sent letters warning customers that their existing plans are going to be canceled due to Obamacare, and telling them that they found a new one for them that will automatically kick in if they do nothing. Now, what these letters do not mention outright is that customers can actually look on the health insurance exchange for cheaper plans and can even qualify for many tax credits there. And in some cases, the letters only put in a small footnote. So if the customer says yes to this new plan the insurance company has found for them, they end up paying a lot more, despite the fact that the same company might be offering a much cheaper plan in the online marketplace. So how widespread is the practice and what can regulators do? Well, joining us now to discuss is Dylan Scott, a reporter for Talking Points Memo. Dylan, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So I don't know if I did a good enough job summarizing there what some of the scandal here really is, but give us some more details and how it is that you even became aware that this was going on.
Well, we were contacted by a reader, Donna, who was profiled in the piece, and I'd say in the eyes of state regulators and consumer advocates, there are two problems here. One is the way that information is being presented to consumers, and two is the information that's being left out. So in Donna's case, her insurer sent her one of these letters that you've heard a lot about, saying that your policy is going to be canceled because it doesn't comply with Obamacare, but here's the next closest plan that we can now offer you. And if you like that plan, if you're satisfied, the quote in the letter was literally, do nothing. And as you said, what they left out was that this new marketplace was going to be opening, and that if she took this default option that they were offering her and did not go to the marketplace, she wouldn't be able to take advantage of the tax credits that are available under the health reform law. And so the difference between what she was able to find on the marketplace once she was able to take advantage of that financial help, and what that default option that the insurer was essentially funneling her into was almost $1,000 a month. So that's kind of the stakes here, and that's why you're seeing a lot of pushback.
Now, legally, what are these private insurance companies really obligated to do or to tell their customers? Is just putting it in a tiny little footnote at the bottom saying, oh, by the way, you do have other options here. Is that all that they're required to tell people?
That's going to vary a little bit state by state. Like in the example of Kentucky that we also reported on, the insurance commissioner was able to levy a fine against the insurer because they said the way that they were presenting the situation to their customers, which was effectively an ultimatum, you have to pick option A or option B, and neither of those options was go to the marketplace, shop around, and take advantage of this financial help. In that situation, they were able to fine them, force them to send out an apology letter, that kind of thing. But in Washington, in the case of Donna, technically speaking, the insurer was following the letter of the law in that state. And so the best that the state regulators could do was put out a consumer alert and try to educate people on their own. But there is certainly quite a variety across the states, and really, in the end, the responsibility is with the customer to figure out what's available to them and to recognize that their insurance company isn't always going to give them their full range of options.
Now, to play devil's advocate here for a moment, and I hate to be the one defending private insurance companies, but, isn't this the way that it always works, is that it's up to the customer to decide what it is that they want to do? Even before Obamacare, before we had this online marketplace where people could go shop around, you still probably, you have choices as to who it is that you want to get your health insurance from. And that's always lies, on the shoulders of the consumer to go out and find that information on their own, right?
Sure. And funnily enough, that's exactly what the insurance company in Washington told me, that we've always assumed that people know they have other options, and the marketplace is doing plenty of advertising on its own, so we don't really see it as our responsibility to tell people about all these other options. And so there's certainly that argument to be made. The only counter, I suppose, is that not only in the eyes of consumer advocates, but also in the state officials who are responsible for regulating these industries, they don't see it as the companies being as forthright with their customers as maybe they should be.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's sketchy. Like I said, I don't want to defend it because it just seems, it seems wrong. If the whole point here is that, people have other options out there that are cheaper, if this massive new piece of legislation is going into effect, then consumers really need to know all the options that they have available to them. And so when it comes to the health insurance companies that have been caught red-handed doing this, who are some of the names that stick out?
Well, I can tell you that we've seen, or there's been complaints about companies from one called LifeWise in Washington, that was Donna's company, and Humana has been called out in a couple of states, Kentucky being one, Colorado being another. So I certainly don't want to name too many names, but those are the specific examples that we found. And to be fair, after we wrote the story, we did get some emails from readers who said, actually my company was totally forthright about what was available to us. So there's definitely a variety within the industry, and not every insurer is acting out. But I suppose the one thing you just have to continually reinforce is that in a lot of ways, customers and regular people have to be their own advocates and know what's available to them.